Week 5 wide receivers. Come on down, Jamison Crowder. So you're looking for a wide receiver heading into week 5. Well, Jamison Crowder's looking pretty good. This guy typically has been a pretty good PPR machine when healthy. Let's just make sure we preference the when healthy. He played in week 4 for the first time this season due to injury, so he wasn't able to play those first 3 weeks because of injury at a training camp, but came back, 9 of 7 targets, had a touchdown, 61 yards in his first game for the New York Jets, really helped Corey Davis out, taking a little heat away, and let Corey Davis do some of his things, and it really helped Zach Wilson out, having a second reliable receiver. And there's one thing about Jamison Crowder is he's reliable. Now, what did I say earlier? PPR machine. There are 2 different formats, PPR and standard. Yeah, I mean, I guess more than 2 formats. These are the 2 main formats. There's half PPR, blah, 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 blah. But when we're talking PPR and standard, Jamison Crowder is a great asset in PPR, and he is more of a Hunter Renfrow type of guy in standard. Touchdown or bust. He doesn't get the big plays down the field. He's a chain mover. He typically is averaging about 9-10 yards per reception. Look at what he did last week. 7 receptions, 61 yards. So under 10 yards per reception, but 7 receptions for 61 yards. We're already at 13.1 points. Add a touchdown on top of that. You do the math. We're at 19 points. That's a great day, even in PPR. So first day back, came back, was a great asset. He is currently available in 85% of leagues. So you can go out there right now in PPR and add to the depth of your roster. I don't think he comes in and is a starter right away, but in spot starts, this guy could be really good for your team. And when we think about, what the Jets have done, they've been in a negative game script most of the time. That means passing. And like I said, Zach Wilson will lean on the guys that he can trust. And right now that's going to be Jamison Crowder, Corey Davis, because these are the most reliable weapons in that offense. Next, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver for the Chicago Bears, 40.8% owned. Next game against Las Vegas. That's a pretty juicy matchup. He has 7 targets in all games but week 3. So he is getting opportunities. And it looked like last week Justin Fields wanted to lean on him more than Allen Robinson. Now, I'm still a little skeptical of Darnell Mooney. I think he's got great upside. I think he's got great potential. I don't think he's a everyday starter. But if you need depth at the wide receiver position, he's a guy that is getting opportunities. And the Chicago Bears will be in negative game script situations. They will be in positions where, whether it's Fields or Andy Dalton or whoever the hell is going to be the fucking quarterback for the Chicago Bears, who knows, from week to week. Honestly, it's just go with Fields at this point. Just get it done. But we don't know. Right now, if it's going to be Fields, Darnell Mooney looks more to be the guy there with Fields. Another guy who's really, really interesting in a high fucking octane offense playing for the Buffalo Bills, Emanuel Sanders, 55% available out there. Next game against Kansas City in that terrible fucking defense. Dude, they just let Jalen Hurts pass for over 300 yards. And I'm telling you guys, Now, Hurst, when he's on, he looks pretty good, but he ain't on every week. But it looks like everybody's on against the Kansas City defense, at least early on in this season. So I like Emanuel Sanders having an opportunity to produce at least 6 targets every week in this offense. He's getting opportunities every week. He gets downfield targets. He is a guy that is trusted in the red zone. He gets open, and he is definitely finally connecting with Allen. And we just look at what Allen's doing right now. Allen getting more comfortable, looking more like 2020 Allen. He didn't look like that early on in this season. So this team now starting to click. Emanuel Sanders, part of that, and he's out there right now in 55% of leagues. I think this guy's a flex, and this is a guy that you can use in standard because he's got that big playability. He does have a decent chance of getting touchdowns. Emanuel Sanders is going to be great for your bench, great depth, another guy that you can use in spot start opportunities. You look at it this week right now, week 5 is a great time to spot start Emanuel Sanders. And honestly, he's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. He's pretty good at getting yardage, and he's decent at getting touchdowns. And you can do a hell of a lot worse, probably. You probably have a hell of a lot worse on your roster right now than Emanuel Sanders. Go ahead, add him to your roster. These next guys are, they have upside. Man, they're upside. They're long plays. You don't pick them up heading into week 5 and then drop them after week 5 because they didn't produce. These are guys that you have to let sit there and decanter and let that wine breathe a little bit. All right. And that is, we're going to start off with Van Jefferson. I've talked about him coming out of week 1 after that big week 1. Finally had another big week, but he is definitely being more and more inserted into this offense. He's only right now 95% available, so he's out there in almost every single league. He is in once again, high-octane offense. Now, this is what I will say about this high-octane offense. This is our problem with Robert Woods right now, everybody. He was a put-up or shut-up. I still think he's a shut-up after last week. I know he scored a touchdown. He got a junk time touchdown to save his day, but he tied with how many other receivers on that team with 6 targets. He's not the number 1. It's clear Kupp is the number 1 in this offense. Matthew Stafford, go back and look at his history. He leans on his number 1, and then it's hit and miss on everybody else. You typically will have another receiver with a big day, but good luck trying to guess who it is because he's going to lean on Kupp, and you're going to know Kupp's going to be a guy who get 13 targets once again this last week. Robert Woods, 6. Van Jefferson, 6. Who's got more upside right now in this offense? Who's shown more upside in this offense? Robert Woods or Van Jefferson? Who do you want on your roster right now? Robert Woods or Van Jefferson? Robert Woods has shown 0 upside. I'm not telling you to go drop Robert Woods for Van Jefferson, but right now, Van Jefferson's been the better start. Period. Jefferson's been better than Robert fucking Woods. I know, everybody's fucking pulling their hair out, and they're all actually celebrating at the same time because he saved himself with a late game touchdown. But you look at his production, he has not separated himself from the rest of the receivers in this offense. He's not shown the big playability of guys like Jefferson, guys like Jackson. Right now, Van Jefferson has more upside and is, once again, a guy that you want on your roster to let breathe a little bit, let decanter a little bit, and let's see how this guy blossoms over the next couple weeks. It's not a pickup. Oh, he didn't produce this week. I stuck him in my lineup, and now I'm going to drop him because fuck that guy. I didn't produce this week. I'm not even telling you to pick him up and stick him in your lineup. Got Seattle, though. That defense hasn't been legit, that's for sure. But the one thing that I do know about Seattle is game script has dictated, less plays. So we'll see. I don't think you should pick him up and stick him in your lineup, but I do think he's a guy that if you have a roster spot, you can stick on there and see how he develops over the next couple weeks and see if he does to overtake Robert Woods. Another guy, Kadarious Toney for the New York Giants, 3.2% owned. Got Dallas this coming week. I imagine that Diggs is going to be more focused on a guy like, I don't know, Kenny Golladay, who's just came off a 100-yard game. So he finally put up. Still a little worried about him, but that was good. So, like I said, coming into this week, coming off a 9-target game, 6 receptions, 76 yards. We're not talking about a guy for standard by any means. This is obviously a PPR guy. He's a chain mover. He's kind of, once again, this is going to have to be also dependent on, is Sterling Shepard out? And I imagine Sterling Shepard is going to be out again. And I do think this is more of the Sterling Shepard guy than anything. We're talking about a chain mover. Sterling Shepard's not a downfield threat. So 9 targets, 6 receptions, 78 yards. Nothing to shake a stick at in PPR format. I don't think I want him in standard, but in PPR, he's another guy, especially in keeper format, dynasty, that you could stick on your roster and, see how that goes. Kendrick Bourne, done pretty well the last 2 weeks. He looks like a pretty good addition for New England in the offseason. I liked Nelson Aguilar after week 1, but he really hasn't done much since then. Kendrick Bourne's been pretty damn reliable the last couple weeks. 13 targets, 11 receptions, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's got Houston this coming week. The one thing that worries me about that, Jacoby Myers is still the target hog. At some point, Jacoby Myers is going to get in the end zone. And Kendrick Bourne is more of an ancillary piece. Houston, not a great defense, but New England should be able to get back to running the ball, what they did early on in this season before they ran into the likes of, the Tampa Bay front. They can go back to running the ball. Kendrick Bourne, more of an ancillary piece, and he would be a DFS dart throw at best. But once again, we're talking about guys, stick them on the roster, see how they do. This last guy has opportunity. He is a guy that you could throw in, I guess, right away. I haven't liked him. Most of this has to do with the fact that the offense that he's in has been absolutely terrible, and that's the Miami Dolphins. Devante Parker, he's out there in 45% of leagues. He does have Tampa Bay in week 5. I imagine that. Sorry, man. I just don't see the Miami defense confusing Tom Brady the way that he was on Sunday night. Tom Brady's going to be fucking pissed after that performance. And I expect Miami to have to be in passing mode. Devante Parker could be a big part of that. Once again, more of a DFS play for me. He's either got 7 or 9 targets in every game this week, so that is interesting, but he hasn't done a lot with it. But we have to think Will Fuller broke his finger. He's going to be out for the, week to week right now. I don't imagine that he actually plays in week 5. Go figure. Will Fuller fucking vacuuming that $10 million right out of the Miami fucking Dolphins wallet. Dude, that guy, now granted, I thought it was a terrible move in the offseason. I thought that was one of the worst places that he could land. Like, I'm sorry, is Tua known for throwing downfield? Not to mention Tua hasn't even been out there. Brissett looks like a fucking joke, dude. Have you ever, and then, I'm sorry, fucking Brissett, you fucking piece of shit, dude. Next time a goddamn fucking one of your own teammates fucking offers to help you up, you don't slap that fucking hand out of your fucking face, you piece of shit. You're supposed to be a fucking leader. Fuck you. So, with that said, Jacoby Brissett sucks. Don't know if I want anything to do with that offense as long as Tua isn't there, and Tua is going to be an upgrade no matter what you think. You look at the ineptitude of Jacoby Brissett, and, you know, I'm begging for Tua at this point, for Waddle's sake, for fucking Parker's sake, for this entire offense's sake. Gaskin, unstartable at this point. I mean, I want nothing to do with the Miami Dolphins, but I will stick Devante Parker on my bench, see if Will Fuller ever ends up coming back, or if he just ends up fucking vacuuming that $10 million right out of the fucking Miami Dolphins bank account and moves the fuck on. I don't know. But he's a guy out there in 45% of leagues. He's getting 7 or 9 targets every week in a terrible offense, and he's got Tampa Bay week 5. So if you're desperate, you definitely could do worse than Parker. And we do know that the guy, I mean, he's had a 1,200-yard season in his career. We do know he can be extremely productive at an elite level, but this Miami Dolphins offense has never really seemed to really buy into Parker outside that 1 year. And you know what? I still fucking like KJ Osborn, 17.6% rostered at the moment. He was 10% dropped after his week 3 performance of, oh, well, he didn't get all the targets he was getting in week 2, week 3. Once again, this is a decanter type of guy, a fill-in guy. He's not expected to get a ton of targets, but he has gotten at least 6 targets in 3 of the 4 games this year. He is trusted by Kirk Cousins. There are going to be days where he disappears. That is what happens with the number 3 wide receiver. He is a PPR guy, not a standard guy, but he is a guy who, in the right matchup, you can definitely stick in there on a bye week fill-in, is a flex. He is a spot start guy that I still like. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel, to the video, comment. Always love reading comments, interacting with comments, and make sure that you check in on Sunday with me, Mike Lynch, and Rashad Taylor on 1080 The Fan as we host the Fantasy Scramble every week at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. We take texts from everybody at 503-250-1080, and you can listen live on the Odyssey app. I'll have the link below. And we can take your questions and answer them if you have any last-second questions heading into the Week 5 slate. Make sure you check out my Week 5 running back ads video, and we'll see you guys next time.